When you think about billion-dollar companies, the first thing that comes into mind is 20 plus years old, probably in the college dorm room, working on the next application that would eventually become a billion-dollar worth enterprise, right? But in this book, we dive deep into the data and reveals a lot about these billion-dollar startups, the myths, the commonalities, and the strategies of these billion-dollar startups. My name is Paulo Balinas, and I'm here to share my 5 key takeaways on the book entitled Super Founders. And let's start with the first one. Is age really important? So again, when thinking about billion-dollar startups, the first image that comes into mind is a very young individual, maybe in the college dorm room, working on the next disruptive application. But studies show, based on hundreds of billion-dollar startups, right? The median age is actually 34 years old. Although it's skewed towards the younger side, the average CEO of a billion-dollar startup has at least 11 years worth of experience. Maybe it may be in a corporate setting, or maybe through founding multiple startups that may have failed, or they had to pivot and eventually becoming this billion-dollar startup, right? The second one is, it depends really, the age really depends on the industry that you are in. For example, in the health and biotech industry, definitely the age group is higher, mainly because of the extensive knowledge and research that is needed. Usually it's a PhD that is needed in that specific field. But for consumer enterprise products or applications or companies, basically, it ranges across multiple age groups, right? The second question is, do you need to drop out of school? So again, the common newsworthy articles write about college dropouts eventually becoming multi-billionaires, right? But studies show that majority actually have either, graduated college or have taken further studies, maybe an MBA or master's degree, right? Less than 10%, maybe 7% or 7.5% are those who dropped out of school, right? So what it shows is education is definitely needed, mainly because maybe it be through network, may it be through helping you, frame your thoughts better. But majority of billion-dollar startup founders actually indeed completed their studies. And to dive deeper, they came from prestigious schools such as Stanford, Harvard, MIT. Although this data may be quite biased, mainly because these prestigious schools can bear more risk, mainly because they are financially well off, they are better network contacts since their Silicon Valley is within that area. For example, for Stanford, so there's no need to necessarily drop out of school right away. Next is, sometimes you need to pivot. Uh, Either change your product for the same customers or change your customers for the same product. If neither strategies work, come up with a new idea. So, case in point, YouTube, for those of you who don't know, was actually built as a dating site. You know, you could video yourself, tell about your personality, what you're looking for. But they noticed when they launched it, people were starting to upload random videos, cat videos and whatnot. And eventually, the founders realized this and they pivoted rather than focusing only on dating. They pivoted based on the market use case, right? Or market demand. And another example is Instagram. They actually started as Bourbon. Basically, it's similar to Foursquare, wherein users take photos of places they are in. They even gamified whenever they visit a specific location. They gamified the situation, but they noticed, their core feature was really the application, the rise of smartphones with cameras, internet. They realized that they wanted to serve their best feature in their app is actually their ability to enhance photos, to create visually appealing photos in a curated feed. So they pivoted. So bottom line is sometimes you may have a business idea, but you must also be willing to shift or pivot or make changes depending on the market perception, um, until you find that product market fit. The next one is billion-dollar startup companies all have defensibility factors. So in Warren Buffett's words, right, your moat. So first one is based on the hundreds of billion-dollar startups studied. One, they had engineering defensibility. So what does this mean is from a tech complexity angle, it's quite difficult to simply replicate the technology behind it, right? But of course, technology is not the only one important. The second one is network effects. What this means is there's an additional value the more people who actually use your application. One example there is Facebook, right? The more people using the applications who sign up, who post regularly, the more added value it adds to the entire ecosystem. So similar to the marketplace, right? The more buyers, the more sellers, the it adds on top. The momentum builds as soon as more and more users enroll and subscribe to the application. Network effects. And the third one is brand mode. So basically, these billion-dollar companies are able to build a strong brand depending on which market or which niche they are trying to serve. So these basically, if you want to build a billion-dollar startup, you need to have a defensible factor, may it be through engineer complexity, building on the momentum of more and more users subscribing or signing up, and of course, building your brand. The last one is about venture capital. So Sequoia Capital is one of the most successful venture capitals wherein they invest in a lot of multi-billion dollar companies. And they have a pitch deck structure that helps founders who want to seek for additional capital a clearer understanding, a clearer way to pitch, right? So the first one is company purpose. You need to start, of course, with your why, your company's why. What does your company stand for? What problem are you trying to solve, right? The second one is, of course, the problem. So you start with the purpose, your why. The second is, what problem do you want to solve? The third one is, based on the problem, based on your purpose, how do you intend to solve it, your solution? And fourth is, why now? Why do you think the timing is now? So, for example, Uber. If Uber was proposed before the rise of smartphones, it wouldn't have been as of a success it is today, or Uber or Grab. So, why now? Market timing. The fifth one is market size. If there is a problem, you have a solution. Is the market size big enough or lucrative enough for you to actually invest time, resources, and energy in? Competition. Are there heavily entrenched players already in the market? Do you still even stand a chance? Are you disrupting the entire market? How can you actually build a competitive advantage? The product. So your specific product, your minimum viable product, features, benefits, and so on. The business model, how you intend to capture market, how you intend to monetize this. Your team, from CTO, CEO, your entire dev team, and so on and so forth. And lastly is the financial. Does it make financial sense? Are you profitable, right? When do you break even? When do you become profitable? So these are the steps or pitch deck structure Sequoia Capital uses in vetting for startups. So again, those are my 5 key takeaways. If you like those takeaways, I have a lot of others summaries in YouTube. So search Paulo Balinas, and I do one summary each week every Sunday evening. So if you like that, see you again next week. Hope you can like and subscribe. Salamat and have a great day.